What is going on, everybody? We've got brand new patch notes for Magic Spellslingers, and it is quite a doozy. I believe my most recent favorite deck is now dead, but let's take a look. What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Roxora, and here we do all things Magic and Magic Spellslingers. Today we're taking a look at the patch notes that came out. I have been doing a lot of grinding on the ladder. I've made it up to pretty much where I was in the last rank season. And yeah, I did that primarily through DRIZZT, which very quickly a lot of people kind of resonated towards, and I assumed primarily it was just because of it's new, and it's exciting and it's flashy, and so that was why people were gravitating toward it, and then eventually the meta would shift, and that really hasn't happened, and people have slowly figured out that like DRIZZT is quite the formidable foe. So that's pretty much what this patch note is attempting to solve. They've stated that pretty much the recent arrival DRIZZT is way too strong. And they want to bring him back in line with the rest of the cast. So pretty much you should expect to see what you saw from the raw nerfs a little while ago. Pretty similar. So first up, we have a nerf to the Gwen creature that you get from DRIZZT's ability, and here they kind of show it as a 1/2. I believe that's just because it starts off as a 01, or sorry, 02, and you can't see it on the field without getting this. But yeah, it is losing trample, which I looked at this, and before looking at anything else in the patch notes, I'm gonna try not to show anything else. Already think that DRIZZT is dead. Not like no one's gonna play him ever, but like I don't think he is nearly as powerful, remotely as powerful. I think he's more in line with things like a Johnny and Chandra now, where it's just like generic aggro, and you're gonna lose in the late game. And that's kind of why they kind of showcased that or described that the inevitability of this potential for DRIZZT was too strong. If you were succeeding in your game plan of attacking with legendaries and keeping your legendaries alive, your Gwen would get very large. And in the mid to late game, as I say, the legends would be able to attack. And sorry, my phone here. Your legends would be able to attack, and then all of a sudden your opponent would not be able to profitably or successfully block and stay alive. There were so many games, if you've been watching my streams, where it looked like we were going to lose the game, and then we just found a haste legend, attacked with it, and no matter what our opponent blocked with, the Gwen was going to be too large for our opponent's health total. So that's apparently is too strong, because they want you to be able to they want DRIZZT to lose in the late game, which I don't really understand. Again, because it's naturally a slow progression. I think in the late game, if you're attacking with a, like, let's say the Gwen is a 7/2 and it doesn't have trample, like they just take anything in front of it and it doesn't matter. I mentioned on stream, like the fish from Kiora just blocks it and it's like cool, goes away. Not having trample makes this a lot worse. Right, this almost just seems like a worse version of a Johnny, right? Or not a Johnny, of a Gideon, where Gideon, all you have to do is attack with 3 creatures, and like, yes, in this case we only have to attack with 1 creature, but it has to be a legendary, and our opponent has to remove that one. So there's some balances to it, right? There's some pros and cons, but yeah, I think this is quite a substantial nerf. I personally don't think this was needed, especially looking at the other nerfs here. So the other nerf is to the the unique card for DRIZZT. The Defend with Twinkle and Strike with Icing Death are not being changed text-wise, but they are just getting an increase in mana, both of them. So in total, this card costs 6 mana instead of 4, which is quite substantial, right? It's you know, this was already a card. Again, everybody, if you've been watching my streams, this is a card that I've been criticizing, not because of its power level, but because of its design and how it works with the DRIZZT. I don't really feel like this should be a signature card in the archetype, but I just don't think it works. Also, Bubble Shield was already a card that was in the game and wasn't really seeing play. So yeah, and so now it's even worse, right? Or it's not worse than Bubble Shield. It's like, you know, a little bit more expensive than Bubble Shield to get you an extra card that is also still expensive, right? So like it really does stack up. They mentioned that, you know, this would create really large tempo strings, which I do agree with. You know, being able to protect your threats, right? So like the Defend with Twinkle was really crucial for protecting your legends. Being able to do that for 2 mana and then do something else was pretty strong. They mentioned that the Protect the Queen gameplay is what they want, so that is like kind of what they're going for with DRIZZT, which is, it's good to hear that is their intent and that is kind of translating into the gameplay. But they just want to reduce the or increase the opportunity cost, right? You have to dig more resources into that in order to benefit, right? So if you throw all your resources into one creature, let's say like a Yenog, you know, your opponent maybe has an opportunity to kill it now because you couldn't play your Defend with Twinkle, or you have to wait and do that later. You know, let's say on turn 5, right? You Yenog on turn for 2 mana, and then you defend with it with the rest of your mana. So, you know, something like that is probably what they're trying to accomplish here. This nerf I'm much more okay with. Again, it's just that combined with this, it's so substantial. Now, this is these next 2 nerfs I can get behind. Deep Forest Arena giving +2/+2 in Ward was quite a lot. You know, the stats in the Ward are so big. So yeah, but reducing this down to just +1/+1, not changing anything else, but just saying, yep, been a powerhouse in many green decks, and not just Drizzt, right? It's you know, it could see play in Vivian, it could see play in Nissa, it could see play in Domri, right? So like it's just too much, right? It's too much just for this card to do. To give you that extra stat and guaranteed protection. So definitely can get behind this nerf. And again, this also hits DRIZZT. This was the main land for DRIZZT. And yeah, and then we have this Inferno Nerf, which I'm so sad about all of this. I will also take this opportunity to talk about how I'm just the nerfs come at such a bad timing for me. I had just recorded a video of this list and wanting to use it, and then similarly I was just talking about how I was going to make some kind of video about Inferno because I thought Inferno was insanely strong, recommending everyone craft it. The one thing that I'll say about this is my issue with the card originally was that combined with Deep Forest Arena plus any additional +2 power, if you set its attack to 6, you're guaranteed to get Survivor's Regalia, the artifact that lets you draft a legendary. And you know, that, like, obviously that's a lot to ask of, but like that's the only 6 mana artifact in the game, meaning if it's 6 power, you attack with it, you are guaranteed to get Survivor's Regalia. And that's not really the design of this card, right? The design of this card is meant to be kind of randomized. Like, yes, you get some value out of it, but the value is often you know, not always the same every time you attack. You don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. That's what makes this card kind of tick, right? You know, if you play anything like Hearthstone or anything like that, you'll kind of understand that that's what makes the game quote unquote balanced, is that you aren't always getting this type of effect. That's what keeps this card balanced. Now, obviously, if it's just 2 power, there's a couple of good hits, and there's a decent amount of bad hits, enough to the point where, yeah, if you're attacking with it at 2 power, it doesn't really matter. I haven't looked into the 3 mana artifacts now that this is nerfed. I don't think I've ever really had this at 3 power. I'll also add that like I played this in DRIZZT Stoneforge Mystics. Stoneforge Mystic made it really easy to get up to 6 powers. So my point is that like my issue with this card is not that it's 4 mana for a 2/3 that's being nerfed to just a 2/2. It's that it provides so much value when, because you can guarantee get kind of almost control what you get, right? Let's say you want a certain 4 mana artifact that and then like there's only a couple of them, right? There's only I think there's only 3 4 mana artifacts in the game at the moment. Then you know that you have a 33% chance. I just think that again, obviously this gets fixed once more cards get added, as more cards get added into the game. But yeah, I think at the moment I just don't like how this card functions. Has nothing to do with its stats or anything like that, and whatever. But like the fact that I was suggesting maybe changing this so that it's less than or equal to, but like that again, that would make it maybe too weak. But yeah. In any case, it's being nerfed down to a 2/2, and they state that now, yes, they mentioned Deep Forest Arena being really good. Both the flying haste, and the attack trigger do so much to provide value and just run away with the game, as they say. And I completely agree. Again, I agree on the power level of the card. Again, I just don't think that power level is coming from the stats. But anyways, they mentioned that now you can just like shock it and drain blood it. Wonderful. Again, it'll probably keep it more in check. Again, I would just really like to see, and again, I know that like we're not going to get it anytime soon, but hopefully more cards get added, more artifacts get put in at variable costs, and specific, and there's some specificity behind it, so that this card is kind of feels more appropriate and randomized adequately. So first, before I move on to the bug fixes, first of all, what do I think about this overall? It's quite a substantial nerf. Again, this combined with the all 3 of these card nerfs. Again, Inferno was seeing play in some other red decks, but primarily was being used in DRIZZT. That's like why it was being dominant. But yeah, I don't know if they're gonna go back on that. Like I don't know if they will ever like undo a nerf, if they'll ever give this back trample or something like that. That's what I'd like to see personally. But yeah, I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna go on at some point today, tomorrow, sometime in my next stream potentially, and play out the deck and see if it's even remotely to where it was. But my guess is no. That's where I'm at. I'm just guessing, but like, yeah, I think DRIZZT is like this. I think this was a heavier nerf than Rawl. I think Rawl was still at a decent power level, even though they nerfed him a lot. Even though it looks like they nerfed him a lot, right? This is quite pinpointed nerfs. They just took a sledgehammer to really specific things, instead of just kind of dialing everything back. But that's my 2 cents. Real quick notes on the bug fixes. Really a big fan of this one. On my off time, I'm grinding the game on my phone, doing dailies or stuff like that. When I'm out or whatever, or I just have 2 seconds. I'm watching TV or something like that. I'm on my phone, on my iPhone, and this bug happened to me so much. Where I'm just like trying to get a daily quest done, and my my hand disappears, and I either have to win the game with what I have on board or concede the game. And a lot of times it was the latter. So good to see that. And otherwise, it just looks like some general bug fixes, some text missings, some weird thing with, I don't even know what this card does. Oh, sorry, I completely am forgetting the Healer's Kit. The Healer's Kit, here they listed in the bug fixes. So, again, there has been some mishmash in the community between whether it was an intentional choice or whether it was a bug. It seems to be a bug. That is what they are stating, and I believe them. So yeah, if you're unfamiliar with this, Healer's Kit is the 1 mana artifact that heals anything, and it has 5 charges. It was bugged, again, as they state, so that it could, if you targeted another artifact, it would add a charge to that artifact. So you could just endlessly activate the artifact, put a counter on it, or put another counter on it using the healer's kit. You could get like 5 activations of like Isochron Scepter, for example, and this just provided way too much value. So that is now dead, which is awesome. You know, if you got to Mythic abusing this, good for you. Yeah. And then there apparently was something with the text for Dark Gladiator where it was nerfed to give -1/-1 instead of -2/-2, but in some languages it looked like -2/-2 still. So good fixes all around in terms of what's going on here. Really happy to see this again. Good bug fix for me, like that affects me. Like I'm very happy by that. And then I never actually abused this in ranked. Good to see that got fixed quickly and appropriately. Again, whether it was a bug, whether it wasn't, it doesn't matter at this point. It's gone. So, okay, I think that's all. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that DRIZZT is still good, or are you guys throwing all the cards in the garbage? I hope not, because I invested quite a bit of time and resources into acquiring, you know, whatever the cards. It wasn't that expensive, but yeah, let me know what you think. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, remember you can leave a like, comment, subscribe, really help me out. You can also watch me live at twitch.tv/ruxaura098. I play Spellslingers every Tuesday and Thursday. I play other games, you know, and you know, sometimes Magic themed games, or Magic formats, various Magic formats on the weekends sometimes. But yeah, primarily doing Spellslingers on Twitch now, so go ahead and check me out there. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me, and I'll see you for the next video.